Every once in a while, something comes along. Not to compete, but to challenge the way it's always been. Hearing aids were never meant to be a luxury, but for decades they have been. Now, I've been in this field a long time. I've watched people walk away, not because they wanted to, but because they just couldn't afford help. Keep an eye on this one. It's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. And maybe, it just may be the shift that we've been waiting for. Alright guys, so before we get started, here is a table of contents for the video. This is a long one. It's almost an hour long, and for good reason. There's just so much that you need to know about this company. Their amazing R&D department. They put out so many updates, fixes, improvements. I also want to show you guys what the people are saying about these hearing aids, the folks that bought them and actually ditched their $6,000 to $8,000 prescription hearing aids, because people are using these as their main hearing aids, and I get why. I also talk about the original ELEHEAR Beyond, because everything that made those great carries over to the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro. And then of course we're going to cover the Beyond Pro and all the upgrades to the already great Beyond that makes the Beyond Pro an amazing hearing aid. So if you've seen my original ELEHEAR Beyond review, then you probably can skip a lot of this stuff because you already know why that was such a good hearing aid and why it made such huge waves in the OTC industry. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hearing Club. My name's Brian. I'm a licensed hearing aid fitter or hearing aid practitioner in Pennsylvania. I've been fitting hearing aids off and on for about 20 years now. I started when I was 19 and I was working with Beltone. And I do a lot of over-the-counter hearing aid reviews, and that's what today's video is. You guys that have been around a while, you know that I've reviewed a lot of over-the-counter hearing aids on this channel, but one brand that keeps surprising me again and again is ELEHEAR. And today, they're back with their newest model, the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro. And this is an upgraded version of their already award-winning ELEHEAR Beyond. Now, before we dive into what's new, let me give you guys a little bit of history and tell you why this brand has really stood out from the crowd. But before we jump in, you've probably noticed I haven't been putting out a ton of hearing aid reviews lately, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, I just have no time between my two jobs, 7 days a week, YouTube, and my two kids. I just really have limited time to work on this stuff right now. And number two, it's not because I'm not getting offers. My email inbox is full of brands wanting me to try out their hearing aids, review them, and I've tried. I've tested a bunch of hearing aids off camera, but here's the truth. Most of them just aren't good enough for you guys. And I'm not gonna waste your time or mine reviewing something that I really can't stand behind. In fact, I've actually sent hearing aids back to some of the companies with an email saying something along the lines of, hey guys, you know, I do brutally honest reviews, and this is probably not what you want out there. Now, I'm still trying to figure out how to handle those situations publicly. Do I just make a video saying it's trash, or is that too harsh? And I'm not sure yet. But what I do know is that when ELEHEAR reaches out, I make the time, because they've proven repeatedly that they actually care about what people think, and they keep delivering stuff that's worth reviewing. So if you're wondering why this video exists, but you don't see 10 others on this channel right now, that's why. Now back to ELEHEAR. Over-the-counter hearing aids exploded onto the scene back in October 2022 when the US finally gave the green light for direct-to-consumer or OTC over-the-counter hearing aids. Since then, companies have been popping up everywhere. And let's be honest, a lot of them are junk. Finding a good OTC hearing aid, let alone a great one, has been a challenge. Now, I've reviewed quite a few now, and I can say this confidently. ELEHEAR is one of the few companies that actually get it right. Now, their first over-the-counter model was the Alpha Pro. It was a really sharp-looking, modern device and a premium unboxing experience. Now, when you guys go to unbox this thing, you are hopefully going to get as excited as I do. Unboxing these hearing aids, I know has nothing to do with the quality of the hearing aid, but it's just an amazing experience. So if you like unboxing, buy one of these, unbox it, send it back. But after actually wearing these hearing aids and trying them out, that unboxing really does translate into the quality and the craftsmanship of these hearing aids. And the Alpha Pro, it felt like a real hearing aid, not just some cheap knockoff. But to be totally honest, it was just okay as far as performance goes. The amplification was decent, the noise reduction actually worked, but if you turn the volume up too high, you'd get this really annoying electronic interference noise that really just pulled you out of the moment. But it was still better than most in this price range. And the app, honestly, it had more features than some prescription hearing aids out there. It had streaming, app-based control, customization. It was really, really solid. Now, about a year later, ELEHEAR released the Beyond model, and that's when they really started turning heads. The Beyond made waves in the hearing aid world. It won the Expert Choice Award from Hearing Advisor, which is a pretty big deal. That's one of the only sites out there with a standardized rating system, and they don't hand those awards out lightly. ELEHEAR has received recommendations from several media outlets, including Forbes, NCOA, Hear Advisor, Hearing Tracker, Soundly, Hearing Health Matters, and of course, yours truly, Hearing Club. Now, I took the Beyond into Costco, like I do with every hearing aid that I test. It's noisy, there's people everywhere talking. It's the perfect place to test a hearing aid in a real environment, not some soundproof booth or really quiet office. And when I took it there, I was genuinely blown away. And you guys can actually watch the detailed review after this video. The electrical interference noise was gone, the sound was clean, the noise reduction worked impressively well, and they even had a front focus and 360 listening mode. And honestly, all that under $500, you've got hands down the best bang for your buck in the OTC space. Now, let me tell you guys something you might not know. ELEHEAR's research and development, or R&D team, is next level. These guys aren't just pushing products and calling it a day. They're actually listening to users, fixing issues, and pushing out updates. And I'm not just talking about app updates. Anybody can update an app. You can actually update the firmware of the hearing aid itself right from the app. Some prescription hearing aids don't even have that option. With some prescription hearing aids, in order to actually update the hearing aids, you got to take it into the office. Again, these you can do right from the app. Now, a lot of the improvements that they make come from their ambassador program, where real users get to test the devices, provide feedback, and they actually help shape future updates. And yes, I give them feedback too, because they ask for it and they actually use it. Now, I know a lot of you guys may not know what I'm talking about, but some of you might. You ever play a game with a bug that just never gets fixed? It's an amazing game, everything's great, but this one annoying bug just never ever gets fixed, acknowledged. Well, not with ELEHEAR. These guys actually fix stuff constantly. It literally gets better based on what people say. Now, the jump from the Alpha Pro to the Beyond was massive, and that's what really made me start watching these guys. And now with the release of the Beyond Pro, the bar just got raised again. Now, I do want to add one more thing. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I try my absolute best to stay objective. I'm not here to just hype things up. I'm here to give you guys the facts, which is the good, the bad, and everything in between. So let me just say this clearly. These are not better than premium prescription hearing aids. They're not. I fit the top tier hearing aids from GN, Sonova, WS Audiology, Demont, you name it. And those prescription devices still have the edge, hands down. But here's what's interesting. This is what I keep hearing from actual users. These come from emails from users and comments on the videos. I've had people tell me that they've sent their $6,000 hearing aids back because they actually like the ELEHEAR Beyond better. I've had people, and I'm going to show you guys reviews of people actually saying this. I've got people that said they haven't touched their prescription hearing aids since they got their Beyonds, or people are telling me that these are just as good, maybe even better. Guys, this is legit feedback from real people just like you. And I get it. The sound quality from the Beyond is shockingly close to prescription hearing aids, but it's not quite there yet. It's getting close to being close to prescription hearing aids, if that makes sense. Now, these aren't just backup hearing aids anymore. For a lot of people, these have become their main hearing aids. Now, just because that's what people say doesn't mean it's the full story. There are just things that prescription hearing aids do that these can't, like custom real ear measurement fitting and just that pure crystal clear voice when you're in a bunch of noise. You're not going to get that from these or any over-the-counter hearing aid. But the fact that people feel like they're getting comparable performance at a fraction of the price, that says a lot. And again, if you guys don't want to take my word for it, read the reviews, read the comments on my videos. The feedback is overwhelming. People just love these things, period. Now, there are a couple, like very few bad reviews about these hearing aids, and about 90% of them that I've read complain that the Bluetooth cuts out or it disconnects. And there's a good reason for that. They don't cut out. It does disconnect from the Bluetooth when you're not using the Bluetooth. And people just don't understand that, and these kinds of reviews drive me crazy. So these use Bluetooth Classic, and this is a reason most prescription hearing aids don't use Bluetooth Classic, because it is power hungry. So ELEHEAR decided to make the hearing aids a little bit bigger and use the better version of Bluetooth, but again, lots of power consumption. So when you're not using the Bluetooth, when you're not making adjustments in the app, when you're not streaming, it does disconnect the Bluetooth to save battery. But the hearing aids don't stop working. They don't stop amplifying, It saves the settings that you have in the app. It just saves battery power by disconnecting it when it's not in use. And as soon as you get a call or as soon as you go to open up the app, boom, Bluetooth turns back on, connects to the hearing aids, and business as usual. So this is actually a great feature that will save battery life and give you amazing Bluetooth connectivity, the best of both worlds. And as a clinical practitioner, I see this all the time. People jump to conclusions. They don't even call and ask for help. They just return the hearing aids. I've had several people return their hearing aids for the dumbest reasons at Costco, and they don't even give us a chance to explain, well, this is how it's supposed to work. This is why it does it. So before you jump the gun and return the hearing aids, why don't you call their customer service and say, hey, is this normal? Or is there a fix for this? I'm only mentioning this because I work in this field. I fit hearing aids and it just drives me crazy. I have to do the walk of shame and go return the hearing aids at the membership center because of the dumbest reason. It's okay not to understand. It's okay not to know, but ask questions first. Inquire. And the reason I'm so passionate about this and telling you guys all this is because this type of situation was the catalyst for the hearing club. I was selling $10,000 hearing aids at Beltone, the same hearing aids you can get at Costco for $1,600 at the time, now $1,700. And I made the video called, Stop Buying Expensive Hearing Aids, watch this video, because you can get the Miracle Ear hearing aids, the Oticon hearing aids, the Beltone Resound hearing aids, all these hearing aids that cost thousands of dollars, you can get at Costco for less than $2,000, and they're the premium version. That's why I started a hearing club, because I realized I had been ripping people off all those years. I didn't know it, but that's the fact. ELEHEAR is doing the same thing that Costco did, but for the OTC space, providing super high quality hearing aids for less than $400. Now, if you guys are already thinking, okay, Brian, where can I get these? The Beyond Pro, it's not on Amazon yet. It should be soon, but you can buy it directly from the ELEHEAR website. And of course, I'll have a link for it in the description. Now, this is an affiliate link, which means if you use it, I do get a small commission. And they did compensate me for making this video by giving me a free pair of hearing aids. But as always, that never changes how I review these products. This link just helps support the channel if you guys find value in what I do. All right. Now, they did increase the price of the Beyond Pro. The original Beyond you can get for $411, which is a fantastic price for what it does. And the Beyond Pro is $599. So you're paying $200 more for the upgraded Beyond Pro, but in my opinion, it is worth it. And we are going to talk later about all the upgrades from the Beyond to the Beyond Pro. And one of the big ones is the noise reduction, increased speech intelligibility in noise by quite a bit. You're getting an expanded frequency range, better noise reduction and noise filtering. And honestly, there's more expensive hearing aids that do not perform as well, like the popular Lexi B2 and the Sennheiser All Day Clear. In my opinion, with my testing, the original Beyond outperform those when you're in noise. The two color options for the new Beyond Pro is silver, or you can get them in champagne. So before we get into what's new in the Beyond Pro, let's talk about the Beyond, because this Beyond Pro isn't a totally new design. The Beyond Pro is basically the Beyond you already know and love, just with some smart upgrades under the hood that make it even better than before. So it is the same hearing aid, just an upgraded version. So with that being said, you guys need to know what the Beyond is, because all that carries over into this hearing aid plus a few upgrades. So if you've already watched my original ELEHEAR Beyond video, then you already know why this hearing aid made huge waves. And if you haven't seen that deep dive review, I'll link it in the description so that you guys can watch it after this video. But for now, let's go ahead and do a quick recap. So the ELEHEAR Beyond, all right, is an RIC style hearing aid, which means receiver in the canal. This is the receiver, and it actually goes inside the canal. It has app-controlled customization, Bluetooth streaming, and not just for iPhones, but for Android also. They're rechargeable, and they come with a portable recharging case. They have noise reduction, directional microphones, and a bunch more. The hearing aids are super easy to set up, they're easy to wear, and they're surprisingly powerful for an over-the-counter device, providing a full-on gain high-frequency average, or FOG HFA, of 35 decibels. This is really good for an over-the-counter and more gain than most, but they can't add too much gain since over-the-counters are designed and meant for mild to moderate hearing loss, not severe. And honestly, the ELEHEAR Beyond really changed a lot of people's minds about what an over-the-counter hearing aid could actually do. So here's what people loved about it and why the Beyond earned so much attention and that Expert Choice Award from Hear Advisor. So one of those big things is tinnitus therapy. This is something that I used to think was a joke. Now, I've been in this field for a long time. I've worked with bell tones, and I used to try the tinnitus therapy on those with a lot of patients. And it just never really worked. Why? Because you're adding noise to a person who's already hearing ringing or buzzing, and they already have a hard enough time understanding folks when they have hearing loss, and just adding another separate noise that's always playing just, to me, didn't make a whole lot of sense. Most people that I tried it with didn't like it. I didn't like it, and I kind of just wrote it off. But that changed. Since reviewing the original ELEHEAR Beyond and the new Beyond Pro, because remember, they're the same thing pretty much. So anytime I mention the Beyond, guys, all this stuff carries over to the Beyond Pro. But since reviewing the original ELEHEAR Beyond, I've gotten so many messages, emails, YouTube comments, all telling me, from folks like you telling me that the tinnitus feature actually changed everything. And I'm like, what? How? And a lot of these folks couldn't sleep at night. For some folks, that ringing or crickets is so loud, it's deafening, and they can't sleep. So I had people tell me that they used the rain sounds or the water sounds and they could sleep like a baby. They actually sleep with their hearing aids. I've heard that over and over, and people aren't just using the tinnitus therapy at night, but throughout the day too, to block out the tinnitus and get on with their lives. And here's why that's such a big deal. It's built right into the app, and it's super easy to use. It's customizable. You can have white noise, pink noise, rain, ocean sounds, and it's one of the only over-the-counter hearing aids that actually offer this feature. Now, you guys know I'm a huge Costco hearing aid fan. Obviously, I work there, and I'm a licensed hearing aid fitter that fits and programs prescription hearing aids. And I've said it a million times, Costco sells some of the best premium hearing aids in the world, but at a fraction of the price. You've got Jabra, Philips, Rexton, and Sennheiser. That's 4 out of the big 5 manufacturers. But guess what? The tinnitus feature is grayed out in the Costco fitting software. It's in the hardware. The hearing aids have the capability to use it, but it's locked. You can't use it. We can't activate it. And most other over-the-counter hearing aids, they don't have this feature at all. That's why I'm calling this a standout feature of the original Beyond and the Pro. Because I've heard directly from the people, even though I don't use it or like it, that this one little feature changed their life. Now here's something that seriously sets the Beyond and the Pro apart. It uses Bluetooth Classic, and that's a very big deal, and it's so easy to set up. You literally just take the hearing aids out of the case. You have to remove the little sticky covers that are covering the contacts, download and install the app, you open up your Bluetooth, and you click on the ELEHEAR Beyond. It's that simple. Now you might notice that the ELEHEAR Beyond is a little chunkier than your typical sleek prescription hearing aids. It's not huge, but it is bigger, and there's a reason for that. Again, it's packing Bluetooth hardware that most $3,000 prescription hearing aids don't even have. And for you guys, I'm working on a dedicated Bluetooth video that will clear up everything about Bluetooth, all the different versions, and how this ties in with your hearing aids. So be on the lookout for it. It's going to clear up a lot of confusion and answer a lot of questions as to why the streaming quality and connection issues have been running rampant with prescription hearing aids. But not anymore if you have LE audio and an Android phone. But that'll be in another video. I'm really excited about it. So Bluetooth Classic is what gives you that rock solid, high quality streaming, not just to one ear, but both ears at the same time with actual stereo sound. And it's the same technology that's used in headphones and earbuds. That's why your little wireless earbuds have a perfectly stable connection, great sound quality, never disconnect. But hearing aids, it's the exact opposite. It's because Bluetooth Classic. Most of the other hearing aids, and why they keep them so small, is because they use Bluetooth Low Energy. Again, used in most hearing aids today. It's flaky. You turn your head, you put your phone in your back pocket, boom, you've got cutouts. It's power efficient, but it's not designed for full audio streaming. Bluetooth Classic, on the other hand, was literally built for streaming. Better sound quality, way better connection, and way more reliable. There is one other brand, one other major manufacturer that uses Bluetooth Classic, and that's why these have always had superior streaming, a more reliable connection, no dropouts. It just sounds so much better, and that is Sonova. They make the Phonak hearing aids, the Kirkland 9 and the Kirkland 10 from Costco. So that's the same Bluetooth that is in these over-the-counter hearing aids. So if you're looking for good quality, good reliable streaming connection, then I would go for the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro. And another huge bonus about the Beyond and the Beyond Pro, another thing that made them really great, is they aren't locked down with proprietary accessories. If your TV has Bluetooth, you can connect these. You can connect these to your TV streamers. You can connect these to your Mac or your Windows PC. You can connect it to anything that accepts a standard Bluetooth connection. There is no encryption like there are with prescription hearing aids. And even though it has Bluetooth Classic, which is really power hungry, the battery life is still really, really good. I wore my Beyond Pro all day from about 8 in the morning to 9:30 at night, and I still had about 40 to 50% battery life left. And I stream all day. And as far as the range and the stable connection to the Bluetooth, get this. I was cleaning my daughter's room the other day. I was putting away all her dirty clothes, and like I always do, I had a podcast playing in my Beyonds. And at some point, I realized I couldn't find my phone. I had no idea where it is. I still had my podcast playing, couldn't find it. Turns out it was all the way downstairs in the bathroom under a pile of dirty clothes. And yet my streaming never cut out. Not once. Upstairs, downstairs, different rooms, 0 dropouts. Now try doing that with most prescription hearing aids. As soon as you put your phone in your back pocket, you're already glitching out. And I'll admit, guys, I used to downplay Bluetooth. I would tell my patients, look, Bluetooth and streaming, it's all just a bonus. The important thing is being able to hear your family members, right? But after hearing all of your guys' feedback and your stories, I get it now. Sometimes you could be in a serious situation. Maybe you're at the hospital and your family's calling. They want to know how dad's doing. You're trying to get updates from the doctor. Phone calls are coming in left and right, and your hearing aids are cutting out. That's not just frustrating, that is super stressful. You need your hearing aids to work. Not sometimes, not if you're holding your phone just right, but every time in moments that matter. And that's what this does. The Beyond Pro gives you that rock solid, dependable connection. And then there's all the day-to-day things too. Whether you're streaming a podcast, taking a phone call, watching a YouTube video, or listening to directions on Google Maps, the Beyond just works. All right, so let's talk about durability, because to be honest, these things are not cheap. They're $400. So first off is the IP rating. The Beyond and the Beyond Pro are both rated IPX5. That means they could handle water jets, like rain, splashes, or sweat. But they're not fully dust-proof or rated for solids. That's what the X is. It's just a placeholder, and I'll have a link in the description for the IP rating chart and what it all means. The other morning I was taking a shower, and yes, I wore my Beyond Pros into the shower, listening to my stupid podcast, and for those of you that have had this happen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get in the shower and you hear this crazy thunderous noise coming from your hearing aids, and then you realize, oh crap. So I took them out, flung them out onto the bath mat. Long story short, they're working just fine. I dried them off, popped them in, no problems. So they don't have that prescription, IP68 rating, but they did surprise me. And I also take these things to the gym. When I'm on that stair climber for like 14, 15 minutes on number 8 now, by the way, I am just drenching in sweat. A lot of the older hearing aids, when they got really sweaty, they would start shorting out. Some of them would shut off. Some of them would have like the static sound. Well, not the Beyonds. They're perfectly fine. My ear canals do get a little bit squishy because of all the sweat, but as far as sound quality, everything still works. Now, the battery life. You have a 20-hour base battery life. Now, this is with hearing aid only mode, no streaming. With streaming, you're going to get about 14 to 15 hours. And with the new Beyond charger, you can actually do a quick 15-minute charge and get over 6 hours of use. And then the portable charger will include 4 full charges. So you're going to get up to 100 hours never needing an outlet. Again, wore mine from 8 to 9:30, still had about 40 to 50% battery life. So yes, it does hold a charge all day, even with streaming. Now, this is one of those things that people don't really think about until it's too late. Wax filters. So yes, wax can and it will kill your hearing aid. This tiny little speaker, it will get clogged, and it's not a if, it's a when. And believe it or not, some over-the-counter hearing aids don't let you replace the wax filters. Once they're clogged, that's it. It's dead. I've even seen this with the Jabra Enhance Plus over-the-counter earbud type hearing aids, or even some of the big name headphone manufacturers. I had a pair of JBL headphones. Wax got into that screen mesh, no way to get it out. So the Beyond and Beyond Pro have replaceable wax filters, just like any legit prescription hearing aid. You pop off the dome, swap out the filter, and you're good to go. This should be standard across all hearing aids, but it's not. And when you need extra wax filters, you just go to the ELEHEAR website and order some. Now, another big thing that really separates ELEHEAR from the rest is they have replaceable receiver wires. So this is the receiver wire. This is the part that goes in your ear. Basically what it is a super small speaker wire, and they do go bad. Again, it's not an if, but it's a when. These are always one of the first things to go bad on a hearing aid, whether it's prescription or over the counter. And when that happens and you can't replace it, again, you've got a dead hearing aid. Your hearing aid is toast. And not only does the Beyond and Beyond Pro have replaceable receiver wires, but you can actually order different lengths from the website, whether you need a number 1, a 2, or number 3. So whether you have a short canal, a long canal, they've got you covered. Or if you just need a fresh wire because yours finally quit after a year, you can just order one from the website. Now, let's talk about something that nobody brags about, but absolutely should if they have it: customer service. A lot of these OTC hearing aid brands, good luck even finding a phone number. It's all email if you're lucky. Or maybe you get a chatbot that disappears halfway through the conversation, and when somebody does respond, it's 5 days later. And it sounds like they just copy and pasted whatever they say from a manual. Well, not with ELEHEAR. Another nice thing that you guys will appreciate is ELEHEAR is a US-based company. And their customer service is US based as well. They've got an actual phone number that you can call. And of course, I've called it myself. I got somebody on the phone, they spoke clear English, and they were actually helpful. So whether you need help adjusting your domes, dealing with feedback, figuring out the app, getting your hearing aids paired, whatever, they've got real people trained to help you out. Now, let me be clear about something. These are not programmable hearing aids in the traditional sense. You can't hook them up to fitting software and tweak every frequency the way I would with a real prescription hearing aid. But ELEHEAR found a brilliant middle ground. Inside the app, there's a feature called ELEPRO, and here's how it works. So you take a hearing test right inside the app. The test results get sent to a licensed audiologist, and yes, that's an actual US-based doctor of audiology and her team of hearing aid specialists. Based on your test results or the audiogram, they'll send you personalized recommendations, how to adjust your settings, what settings you need to be using, tone preferences, whether you need it brighter or deeper, and even dome changes if needed. It's not quite full-blown programming, but it's a lot more than just pushing some sliders around yourself. And again, this is all happening in the US, nothing overseas. And while we're talking support, here's what else you get: a 45-day trial period, that's more than a month to try them risk-free, and a 1-year warranty. It's pretty standard, but it does cover you for manufacturer defects, like if one side is not working or whatever else can go wrong with the hearing aid. And get this, if you're still in your trial period, okay, within your 45 days, if you need a different size wire, you just call up ELEHEAR. You have to pay shipping, but they will send you the size that you need. All of the hearing aids come with a standard number 2, just like any other hearing aid you get. So the Beyond and the Pro don't just perform well, they're backed by real people, a real audiologist, and a support team that's actually there when you need them. And trust me, that matters. Sometimes I would rather have a decent product with great customer service that's there when I need them than an amazing product and no help at all. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before we get into the Pro upgrades is the app. The ELEHEAR app is honestly one of the better OTC hearing aid apps that I've used. You can adjust the volume independently between both ears. You can switch between programs, whether you want just general, restaurant mode. They have a tone adjustment, so it's kind of like an equalizer. You can make the sound more brighter and crisper or more deeper. Again, it has the ELEPRO option, where you can get hooked up with an actual audiologist. There's a really cool translator function, and you guys could check that out in my ELEHEAR Beyond review. You can check your battery life. You can get OTA or over-the-air updates to the firmware of the hearing aids themselves. And one of the best features is the front focus and 360 listening modes right in the app. And here's why that matters. So let's say you're in a noisy restaurant, there's clanging, there's chatter, background music, and all you want to do is just hear the person that's in front of you. With most over-the-counter hearing aids, they're just going to amplify everything, including the noise behind you and to the side of you, which obviously makes it much harder to hear the person in front of you when you've got all this other sound coming in. But with front focus, the Beyond prioritizes sound that's coming directly in front of you, and it will reduce the amplification from behind and the sides. Now, no hearing aid can physically block sound from entering your ears unless you're using fully occluding custom molds. And I mean, that's just physics. But these devices are smart enough to decide which sounds to amplify and which ones to leave alone. And when you don't want to just focus on what's in front of you, you can flip it back to 360 mode to open things up and hear your environment more naturally. And again, you could do all of that right from the phone. And I do admit some of that functionality has changed slightly in the Beyond Pro app, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not really a big fan of how they altered it, but all the options are still technically there. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest issues with low-cost over-the-counter hearing aid: feedback and clarity. And that's where the Beyond and the Beyond Pro absolutely shine. So if you're not sure what feedback is, a lot of people think it's the sound of their own voice, you know, making it sound like you're talking into a microphone, then it's being played back to you. That is not feedback. Feedback is that annoying whistling or screeching noise coming from the hearing aids. Like if you get your hand close to your ear or you get next to a wall, your hearing aids could start whistling like crazy. And this is a nightmare with most cheaper OTC hearing aids. But with ELEHEAR, you almost never hear the feedback. And if you do, it's usually just the same problem that you have with prescription hearing aid, an improper fit, meaning you might have the wrong size or the wrong type of dome, or your loss may be too severe and you just need more volume than the occlusion can handle. Remember, these are meant for mild to moderate loss, not severe. However, if you guys watch my full review of the original Beyond, I talk about how my good friend and coworker Johnny with a severe loss can actually hear with the ELEHEAR Beyonds. I had him try them for a couple of days, and that was very impressive and completely unexpected. Now, the no feedback is thanks to their AI-driven feedback suppression system. It uses a deep neural network to instantly catch and cancel feedback before it reaches your ear. And again, if you do hear feedback, it usually just means something's off. You're probably wearing open domes when you actually need closed domes, or the domes may be too small, defeating the whole purpose of wearing closed domes, or you may not have the receiver fully inserted in your ear. Once you fix the dome issue or the fit issue, the feedback disappears. And if that doesn't work, you can always call customer service and they'll walk you through a dome swap until they get it right. Now that takes care of the feedback. Let's talk about the actual sound quality. So the deep neural network that they use analyzes your sound environment 500 times per second, doing 450 million operations per second, boosting speech clarity by about 17% in noisy places. Now here's what that means in real life. Conversations in a crowded area don't sound so blurred together. Voices stay clear even when you're surrounded in noise. And wind noise, which is a big problem in a lot of over-the-counter hearing aids, well, the ELEHEARs handle that pretty well. And I can tell you guys with 100% certainty for me and with my loss. Okay, yours may be different. Out of all the over-the-counter hearing aids I've tested, even at Costco, none sound as clear as the Beyond. And that's because of their VOC Clear 2.0 technology. You get studio grade 24K bitrate sound fidelity, which basically means you're getting really high bitrate audio that really preserves the detail and the richness of the sound. Now, it's not quite $6,000 prescription hearing aid quality, but it's close enough that it surprised the hell out of a lot of people, including myself. Now, let's talk about the actual upgrades to the Beyond Pro. So everything that I've talked about carries over to the Beyond Pro, but these are the actual upgrades that they did. Like I said earlier, the Beyond Pro is basically the original Beyond, but better. Now, they didn't reinvent the wheel. They just upgraded the parts that mattered most, and they took a lot of your guys' feedback and my feedback as well. So here's the 4 biggest improvements that set the Beyond Pro apart from the original. So the original Beyond had a bandwidth or a frequency range of 125 Hertz to 7,000 Hertz. Now that's pretty solid and typical for a nicer over-the-counter hearing aid, but the Beyond Pro has increased that range to 8,500 Hertz. And that puts it in the same league as real prescription grade hearing aids, especially when it comes to clarity in the highs like the S sound, the F sound, and your SH sounds. Those are very high frequency or high pitch sounds that you lose when you have a high frequency loss. And with a hearing aid going all the way up to 8,000 Hertz, again, that's prescription territory. Now you'll notice this in things like music, of course, speech detail, and even environmental sound cues. Number 2, and this is something a lot of people complained about with the original Beyond, and it was a totally valid complaint. If you listen to sustained notes, like somebody whistling, a flute note, or even somebody singing a long vowel, the sound would sometimes warble, like it was underwater or vibrating. Now that was caused by the feedback suppression system misfiring. Basically, when it heard one of these notes, the hearing aids thought it was feedback and tried to cancel it out, and this would distort the sound. It wasn't a huge deal, but it is kind of annoying. Well, the Beyond Pro is updated with a fix for that, and they did that by offering a brand new dedicated music program, or music mode. So the music mode uses less feedback suppression to preserve that musical fidelity. And when you do change to the music mode, you'll get a warning saying use more occluding domes, which means you're going to have to seal up your ear more because the feedback system isn't going to be working as hard. You're going to need a better acoustical seal. Now, it does work, kind of. I did notice a little bit of an improvement, but I definitely like to see more. Guys, I just wanted to give you a quick update. Right as I was about to upload the video, they emailed me and said they fixed the Warble with a new update. Now when you switch to the music mode, there's virtually no warble at all. I'm telling you, their R&D team is legit, and they put out so many updates. So let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention when it comes to hearing aids, and that is latency. So All digital hearing aids, whether over-the-counter or prescription, introduce a tiny delay between when sound enters the microphone and when it reaches your ear through the receiver. That delay is called processing latency. Now, why does this happen? It's because these devices aren't just amplifying sound, they're analyzing it, filtering out background noise, suppressing feedback, enhancing speech, running all kinds of complex digital algorithms. And that's what gives you the clean, clear sound we want. But it takes a tiny bit of time. And that time matters. Most prescription hearing aids today are incredibly fast, usually between 5 and 8 milliseconds of latency. Now, that's fast enough that your brain doesn't really notice anything unnatural. You don't hear an echo, you don't hear yourself twice, it just sounds clean. But as that latency goes up past 10 or 12 milliseconds, things start to sound a little bit weird. And here's why. When you talk, you're hearing two versions of your voice at the same time. So one comes directly through your ear canal naturally, and the other one, it's picked up by the hearing aid, processed, and then played back to you. If that delay between those two is too long, your voice can start to sound metallic, hollow, or even echoey. It's subtle, but once you notice it, you really can't unhear it. And it's one of the most common reasons people say that their hearing aids don't sound natural. And this effect actually has a name. It's called the comb filter effect. That's when the natural sound and the delayed processed sound interfere with each other. Certain frequencies cancel out and others get boosted. And it creates this weird sound quality, kind of like talking in a tunnel or in a tin can. And here's the thing, it's not just theoretical. There are real over-the-counter hearing aids that struggle with this. For example, the Sony CRE E10 OTC hearing aid. These cost around $1,200–$1,300. And they have a latency of 12 milliseconds. And while it's a capable device in many ways, some users have reported that in echoey rooms or open environments, their own voice sounds unnatural, like it has a robotic or echoey quality to it. Now that's the comb effect in action. And at that price point, that kind of issue can be pretty frustrating. So this brings me to the Beyond Pro. One of the key upgrades they made was reducing latency from 11 seconds to just 8 milliseconds. Now that might not sound like a huge jump, but trust me, it matters. They've pushed the latency right into the sweet spot where it matches many prescription devices. So that means less echo, a more natural voice, and just better sound quality, especially if you're using open domes like me and have pretty decent residual hearing. Because with open domes, you hear more of your natural voice and the processed sound at the same time. And this is just one more example of how these new generation OTC devices are really closing the gap with prescription devices. And about the sound quality, I know that they've made all these upgrades and I know that there's a bunch of technical jargon that you guys probably don't want to hear. So let me just say that with the Beyond and the Beyond Pro, if you wear another over-the-counter device, whether it's a $200 really cheap one or a $1,000, popular one like the Sennheiser All Day Clear, once you switch to the Beyond, if you can do this side by side, you will instantly notice a difference in sound quality. You can actually hear voices in a bunch of noise. I know I've said that many times, but I just want to reiterate that this isn't a slight difference. This is a noticeable difference. I try to stay as objective as I can, but I don't want to lie to you guys and tell you that it's okay or not that big of a difference, but it is. All right, so go try them. Now, the biggest improvement from the original Beyond and the new Beyond Pro is better speech intelligibility in noise. So let's be honest, the number one complaint in hearing loss is I can hear people talking, but I just don't understand what they're saying. The original Beyond had a Hear Advisor score of 1.1 for speech and noise, and the Beyond Pro scored a 3.5. That is a massive improvement. So that just means that voices are going to be more clear, background noise is going to get pushed back a lot more, and you can actually follow conversations in crowded spaces or restaurants. Another really nice addition to the Beyond Pro, and we've kind of been asking for this and they did deliver, is the addition of power domes. So your Beyond Pros will come with power domes. Now this is great. And what this means is if you have more of a severe loss, even though these hearing aids aren't designed for a severe loss and they're not meant for a severe, remember, mild to moderate, you may be able to get enough amplification if you have a severe loss, like my friend Johnny. Now, normally what happens, even if the hearing aid is capable of delivering enough amplification, the issue is feedback because you can't get that good acoustical seal without a power dome. So now you can. The power domes are really going to occlude your ear canal, allowing all that rich, beautiful control volume or gain to stay contained in the ear canal without leaking out and causing feedback. And this is just another example of how these are getting closer and closer to prescription hearing aids. Power domes are generally only available in prescription aids. Now, there are other over-the-counter brands that do offer power domes, but this is another one to add to the list. Remember, feedback is a huge problem with cheaper over-the-counter hearing aids, and plenty of over-the-counters in this price range do suffer from feedback. And with power domes, it just gives you another tool to get that proper fit. You have more customization. With the audiology support, the power domes, the artificial intelligence, the feedback suppression, the high quality of the hearing aid itself, feedback will not be a problem with these hearing aids. Now, this is kind of a bonus thing, and I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say anything, but this is huge. ELEHEAR is planning on an OTA, or over-the-air software update, sometime in Q3 of this year to add LE audio, and that means Auracast might be coming to the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro. Now, I wouldn't get too excited because we've all seen what's happening with Rexton hearing aids, but I am pretty hopeful, and their R&D department usually delivers. So LE audio, that's going to improve sound quality, and I've experienced it firsthand. It is a huge improvement, better battery life, and it's going to enable Auracast, which is a public broadcasting feature. So what is Auracast? Well, let's say you walk into a church, an airport, a gym, or even your own living room. You're able to tune in to the audio that's being broadcasted. So in church, if you have trouble hearing the pastor, just imagine going on your phone, connecting to the church audio just like a Wi-Fi broadcast, and you're able to tap in to everything that the preacher or the pastor is saying into the microphone. It's being directly fed into your hearing aids. Now, this tech is just starting to roll out in newer hearing aids, and ELEHEAR is leading the way in the OTC space, which is amazing. So while it's not active yet, the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro is already built with the hardware for it, and hopefully it'll be coming as a free software update. So basically, the Beyond Pro has the same outer shell, same charger, same accessories, but under the hood, it's got some upgrades. Now, as much as I love these hearing aids, they aren't perfect. Like I do with all my reviews, here's what I don't like about them. Number one is the new app. I've got some mixed feelings. The new app works, don't get me wrong, and it is a little bit cleaner, but I'll be honest, I like the old one more. I think what they're trying to do is just make it more simple so that folks that aren't super tech savvy have an easier time with it. But lots of people want those advanced features, like me. For one, there's no equalizer, not even a basic 3-band EQ. You do get a simple tone slider. You can make the audio brighter or deeper, but it doesn't actually boost the high frequencies. It mostly adjusts the lows and the mids. I mean, it is something, but it's not what many users expect or want in terms of tone control. We want more customization. Also, some key features are tucked away or renamed, which can make things kind of confusing. The old app had clear manual switching between front focus and 360 mode. Now, it does still work, but it's hidden behind more simplified controls. Another thing I don't like is these aren't programmable hearing aids in the traditional sense. I can't hook them up to my fitting software and make frequency specific adjustments, but there's still support from a licensed US-based audiologist. You could send your hearing tests through the app, and they'll send back custom tuning adjustments and, again, which domes you should be using. So it's not full programming power, but it's far more personalized than most OTC hearing aids out there. And then another big thing is they still don't have sport locks. This is one thing I'd love to see included in the box in the future. Right now, they don't come with any. And while the hearing aids do generally stay in place fairly well, some users would definitely benefit from a little extra stability, especially if you're active like me and run around and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the good news is the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro does work great with a Signia 2.0 power level receiver sport lock. So I'll have a link for this in the description, and it fits like a glove. So there are sport locks out there that will fit perfectly fine. Now, ELEHEAR has told me that they're working on this and they will eventually have their own solution, but we're not quite there yet. Another thing is the size. These are definitely bigger than your prescription RIC hearing aid. They're not huge, don't get me wrong, they're not unwearable. Mine are perfectly fine, but they are bigger, and we've just all got to come to terms with that. But I will take a slightly bigger hearing aid that works great than a super small invisible hearing aid that sucks. And the Beyond Pro definitely works great. Now let's talk about the app, what you can do with it, and why not all of it is good news. All right, so to get the hearing aids connected, all you do is you open up your Bluetooth menu, take the hearing aids out of the case. In just a few seconds, they will appear under the available devices. You just select ELEHEAR Beyond Pro, hit pair, and that's it. They're connected. You open up the app, select ELEHEAR Beyond, and you are connected. So your basic controls like the volume are done with this volume slider. You go up for more volume, down for less volume. You could do the left and right individually. Now if you want to change the volume of both, you just hit the 2 dots and you have one volume control for both hearing aids so they stay in sync. Now the tone adjustment on the right is how you adjust the lows and the mids. If you want more lows and mids for a more deeper, more bassier sound, you're going to go toward the bottom for deeper. And if you want more of a brighter, crisp sound, you're going to go higher towards the brighter side. And that's going to reduce the lows and mids so you get mostly high frequency sound. You can change programs or you can change modes using the current mode selector. You've got general, that's pretty much your all-purpose mode. Restaurant, if you want more of a noise reduction. The music mode, if you select that, it's going to suggest wearing a more occluding or closed dome because it's going to reduce the feedback suppression so you get less of that warble effect. This music program was made specifically to reduce that warble effect for you music lovers out there, and this is one of the new additions to the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro. And then the TV mode will make it a little bit easier to watch TV by putting it in more of a front focus mode. Now here's where things change from the old ELEHEAR Beyond to the new Beyond Pro, and that is the noise control. With the old app, you had automatic mode, which took care of the noise reduction and the speech focus. But with the new app, the new Beyond Pro, you've got a different layout. Adaptive is your automatic mode. Okay, so that's going to take care of the noise reduction and the microphone directionality based on your surroundings using AI. So if you're not really tech savvy, that's probably going to be your best bet, is to stay in adaptive. Light is going to use a little bit of noise reduction, and it's going to be using the 360 mode. Moderate is going to add some more noise reduction. It's going to be a little more aggressive, and it's still going to be using the 360 mode. Advanced is going to be using a lot of noise suppression, and that's going to switch it to the front focus mode. And then maximum is going to give you the maximum amount of noise reduction. So if you're in a really noisy restaurant, you're going to want to use this, and it's going to still use the front focus. So this is your ultimate noise reduction front focus mode. So that's what I like to use. If I'm in Costco, I'll use either advanced or maximum because those are both front focus and both have a good amount of noise reduction. But I did like the older model better, where you can adjust the noise reduction yourself with a slider, and you can choose whether you want front focus or 360. This still achieves the same thing. You just have to choose from a preset. I like to have the manual controls myself, but it does still work, and you do still get the great noise reduction and front focus if you're using advanced or maximum. Now they did add this new feature called try with a little play button. If you hit that, it'll play some dialogue and you get to adjust the tone and the volume, and while you're listening to the dialogue, it will apply these tone adjustments and the volume so that you can hear it in real time and see how it's affecting the sound. Now the tinnitus therapy feature is very, very simple to use. You basically pick a sound that you want to play instead of the tinnitus. Once you select the sound, you click on the little window that pops up and you can adjust it. The way I do it is I tell folks just turn it all the way down and slowly increase the volume until you notice the tinnitus going away and you hear this sound instead. You want to find that perfect balance where you can turn this down as low as possible where it's still effective in reducing the tinnitus. Now, if you have tinnitus mainly in the left ear, but not so much the right ear, you want to use the balance to adjust that. You're going to want to move the slider over to the left. If you hear it equally in both ears like I do, I keep mine right in the middle. You can also use this if you have trouble sleeping. You know, when I go to sleep, that's when my tinnitus is really just blaring. So I can select some nice calming sounds like rain and maybe find some relief. Now the remote microphone option is going to be in your home tab. You just click on remote sound capture and you can adjust the volume here. So if you have trouble hearing the TV, you could set your phone right next to the TV, turn on the remote sound capture and adjust the volume here. And then anything that's coming out of the TV speakers, as long as you position the phone correctly, will be played right through your hearing aid. So you can kind of use this as a TV streamer if you don't have a dedicated device for that. You can also place this in front of somebody who you have a hard time hearing, especially in a noisy environment. So if you're at a family dinner and you can't hear one of the kids, or you have trouble hearing your husband or your wife, you can set the phone right next to them and you can have kind of a direct connection right to the family member. Now, if you want to update the hearing aids and actually update the firmware, which is a great feature that a lot of hearing aids don't have, you click on the 3-line menu up at the top left, you go to My Device, and you could check which firmware version you currently have, and if there's an update available, it'll show right there where it shows your firmware version. You can also see how much time you've spent wearing the hearing aids. And the really nice feature, I think really the bread and butter of the ELEHEAR Beyond and Beyond Pro, is the ELEPRO audiologist feature. This is where you can take a hearing test, and the hearing test will be sent to the audiologist, and you will get back personalized settings based on your audiogram. And another great thing about ELEHEAR is they actually have a phone number, so you can call anytime you want, Monday through Friday, and speak to their customer service if you have issues with the hearing aids, if you're having trouble with feedback, or you want to purchase accessories, anything you need, customer service will handle it. And then last but not least is the translator function. So if you're trying to speak to somebody that speaks a different language, you select their language at the top. Let's say you're talking to somebody that speaks Spanish, and anything you say will be translated so that the other person can see what you're saying. So as you can see, I'm speaking in English, and it will translate it to Espanol. And anything they say will automatically be translated, and it will play it into your ears. So let's just test it out. ¿Cómo estás?
How are you?
Me llamo es Brian.
My name is Brian.
There you go. My name is Brian. And it played that in my hearing aids. Really, really cool. So that's the ELEHEAR Beyond Pro, an impressive upgrade to what was already one of the best performing over-the-counter hearing aids out there. It was even in my top OTC hearing aids of 2024. Now, if you guys want a deeper dive into the original Beyond and what made it such a standout in this price range, I'll link the full review in the description, and I'll have a little thingy on the end screen. You could just click on it. It'll take you right to the review. I do a much deeper dive into the hearing aids. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. And if you guys are curious about Auracast, what it is and how it could be coming to these hearing aids soon through an update, I've got a video that walks you through how to set up your own Auracast broadcast using the HomeSpot device. It's available on Amazon. And here's the cool part. That same $50 device, the HomeSpot BA210, works with classic Bluetooth. So that means you can stream audio straight from the TV right to your Beyond Pro. There's no brand locking, no proprietary accessories, just real good Bluetooth connectivity. And the streaming quality from the TV is crystal clear, and for me, there's no delay at all. But to get no delay and the super crisp audio, you're going to want to use the optical connection. Just a tip for you guys that are going to try this out. Now, I'm serious, guys. I want to hear back from you, okay? If you've tried the original Beyond, drop a comment and tell us what you loved or what you hated. Your experience might help somebody make the right choice. There are a bunch of over-the-counter hearing aids out there that people are wasting their time on. They're ordering them. They got to send them back. They got to try another pair, send them back because of feedback, bad sound quality, too much noise, you name it. Help people out and leave some comments on this video on how your experience went with the Beyond, all right? You're actually helping other people. And more importantly, prove that I'm not just saying all of this, okay? They're not paying me to say this. People love hearing from the real people that are actually using these things, not just some YouTuber saying that they're great. I never delete comments for those of you that say you don't like the hearing aids. That's okay, and that's your right to say, hey, these didn't work for me. Now, here's the fun one. If you could add any feature to the next version of these hearing aids, what would it be? Let me know down below. I'll be reading all these comments and replying to every single one, and ELEHEAR is going to be reading these comments too. So if there's something you would like to see in these hearing aids that's not in there right now, leave it in the comments. Remember, I have direct contact with the R&D team, and I do report back what you guys say. Now, this content takes a lot of time, guys, and sometimes it takes away time with my kids. So please, if you guys found this helpful, like the video and consider subscribing. It really helps keep the Hearing Club going, and it means the world to me. And you can also directly support the channel by using the link in the description to purchase these hearing aids if you guys want to try them. It'll take you guys straight to the website. You don't have to worry about scams or anything like that. It's a legit link. And just remember, if you guys don't like them or it doesn't work out for you, return them. You have 45 days. You literally lose nothing. And if you guys want my honest opinion, these do perform better than the more expensive over-the-counter hearing aids. These are really good. As always, thanks for watching the Hearing Club, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Hello guys. I'm still starting it. Okay, hello guys. This is our castle. but we're gonna make it bigger. We need 3 more boxes of and we have windows room, and we can look out for people, or if anything's going wrong, we can save